Right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Anita Stewart Memorial Food Laboratory at the University of Guelph with special guest Chitra Saravanan from Krisha Indian School. My name is Katherine Eckert, and I'm an Arrell Food Scholar and a second-year PhD student working with the Guelph Family Health Study at the University of Guelph. Before starting my doctoral degree, I completed a Bachelor of Science in Nutrition and a Master's of Science in Community Health and Epidemiology, and I'm also a registered dietitian. My current research focuses on strategies to promote plant-based protein consumption among Canadian families, and it's my pleasure to be here today to moderate this event. So before we begin, we wanted to offer our respect to the many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples on whose lands we work and live. So I myself grew up on the west coast of Newfoundland, on the unceded territory of the Beothuk and Mi'kmaq peoples, some of whom are my ancestors. And today we acknowledge that the University of Guelph resides on the ancestral lands of the Attawandaron people and the treaty lands and the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We recognize and support the calls to action by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission and vow to hold governments accountable and advocate for concrete actions towards reconciliation moving forward. So welcome everyone to today's event. This event is brought to you by the Arrell Food Institute in partnership with the Gordon S. Lang School of Business and Economics at the University of Guelph, Canada's Food University. And this is a continuation of our Deep Dish Dialogues, a series designed to showcase chefs and other food experts diving into impactful subjects. So we're thrilled to host today's discussion, which will touch on plant-based foods, nutrition, and culture. And we're super excited to have Chitra join us as our cooking expert. Chitra is the owner and instructor of Krisha Indian School, and she's been teaching cooking classes in Guelph since 2009. So she has so much knowledge and skills that she's going to share with us today. So welcome, Chitra. I know we introduced you briefly, but why don't you share a little bit about your background and tell us about what you'll be making today.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Chitra Saravanan. I'm the owner and instructor of Krisha Indian School. I'm been teaching cooking classes in Guelph area for more than 10 years. I'm a home chef, so all my recipes are based on home-style cooking. The reason why I started cooking school is I love cooking, and teaching is my passion as well. So I wanted to teach people how easy and delicious it is to cook Indian food. So that's why I started the cooking school. So today I'm going to teach two plant-based dishes. One is the peas pulao, which is a one-pot rice dish. Another one is a coconut chickpea curry. Before we go into the recipe, I wanted to give a brief introduction about the basic spices used in Indian cooking, okay? So why do we use spices in Indian food? The main reason is for its natural healing properties and health benefits. And the next reason is for its flavor. And the third one, it gives a nice color to the food as well. So this is called a masala dabba. Masala means spices, dabba means box. So this is a traditional Indian spice box where we store all our spices. So if you see, I have some turmeric. Turmeric plant is just like a ginger. So this is the turmeric plant. Wow. So for health benefits, even you can buy fresh turmeric and you can peel the skin off and use it in smoothies, salads, and curries as well. Okay, so you get all the nutrients from the fresh turmeric. And next one is red chili powder, which gives the heat to the Indian food. So if you wanted to cook any Indian food spicy, you can add a little bit more to it. If you wanted to cook milder, you can add less to it. And next one is the coriander powder. We use all three forms of coriander. This is the ground coriander, this is the seed, and this is the herb as well. So coriander and cilantro both are same. We don't use the term as cilantro in Indian cooking. We just use the term as coriander for powder and seed as well. And the next one is the cumin powder. From the cumin seeds, and next is a garam masala. Garam means warm, masala means spices. So garam masala is a blend of some of the whole spices, dry roasted and powdered. Okay, so I don't make my own garam masala. So where can you buy the spices? You can, all Canadian supermarkets sell them too. So you can, it's easily available. You can go to a specialty Indian store as well to buy them, okay? And I have some salt here and ground black pepper as well. So this is like a magic box where you can create
So
a
pretty.
numerous amount of dishes as well. Okay, so why did I choose to cook 2 plant-based dishes? The reason why I wanted to do the peas pulao and coconut chickpea curry is to incorporate some of the local ingredients. Okay, so that's why I choose the peas pulao and the coconut chickpea curry.
That sounds great, yeah.
Can we move on to the?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Chitra. So before we move into the cooking, I wanted to let our audience know that they can ask questions along the way. So you can submit your questions in the YouTube comments or by using the hashtag #DeepDishDialogues on Twitter. So to kick things off, I'm wondering if you could tell us a little bit more or get started with the spices that we'll be using today.
Yeah. So for the first dish I'm going to cook is the peas pulao. It's a 1-pot rice dish. So we are going to use some green peas and some of the whole spices like green cardamom, cinnamon, and cloves. So what is the reason I'm going to use some cinnamon and green cardamom? That reduces the blood sugar. So we are using rice, that's why we are going to use it. And so cloves is high in antioxidants. So that's why we use it. And we're going to use some ginger and garlic as well too in the rice. So ginger and garlic is good for digestion. So we're going to use some of that as well in the rice dish, okay? So shall we get started with the rice dish?
Yeah, for sure. It already smells good.
Yeah, so I'm going to put the pan on medium, and here I'm going to use some of the local ingredients. I'm going to use canola oil. It's Canadian, so I try to incorporate more canola oil in my cooking. So the pan is hot. I am going to add 2 tablespoons of canola oil there. So always we try to add whole spices to the hot oil. The reason why we do that is when we add the whole spices to the hot oil, it's called tadka or tempering. By tempering the whole spices, the essential oil from the seeds releases and flavors the whole dish, okay? So I'm just waiting for the oil to get hot.
That's a great tip. I've never done that before myself, so I'm going to try to do that.
Yeah, always the
next
first step in Indian cooking is we add some sort of whole spices to the dish. And then next we will be adding some onions and ginger garlic paste, and that's how it goes.
It already smells good just being cut up. So I can't imagine once you start cooking the onions.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite rice dish, and the color combination, it's so good
Yeah, so
with the
pretty.
green and the white.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pan is.
So we always start by doing the spices first, and then
Then we'll be adding the onions. And
and then the
ginger
rice
garlic.
after
Ginger
that?
garlic, we will first season
Okay.
it, and then we are going to add the rice to it.
Okay, to the same pot.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a 1-pot dish.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, less dishes, always
Yeah.
good.
And if you wanted to add more vegetables as well too, you can add it too.
Nice. What vegetables do you usually?
You can add cut beans.
Okay. Yeah.
Carrots.
Like green beans?
Yeah.
Oh,
Green
nice.
beans, and even a handful of baby spinach.
Ooh.
It's very healthy too.
Yeah, that would be very
So,
good. Getting so many ideas. So this is usually done over medium heat, too, you said? Medium high?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is an induction stove. It's taking some time.
Perfect.
Just you're toasting the whole spices in the oil.
So would you remove these then at the end?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Usually, as in our culture, they know.
Yeah.
So they try to fish it and keep it aside.
Okay.
But yeah.
But it's okay if you did eat it.
Yeah, it's edible for sure. Yeah. So you guys can see it's fluffing out. So this is what the sizzling is, Nice.
Yeah, you can smell.
Yep. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of, this is mixed together, ginger and garlic. So it's Ontario garlic. So I'm going to cooking until it's translucent. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Oh, it smells good already. It doesn't take that long. Once it's translucent, and now we can add a cup of green peas.
So that can just be frozen?
Yeah,
Jason?
it's a
Okay,
frozen green
nice.
peas.
Yeah.
And to get some little bit kick to the food, I'm going to add a teaspoon of black pepper powder.
Okay.
Okay, that's optional. If you don't want the heat to the rice, you don't have to add it, okay? So while that's cooking, I'm going to show about the rice. So this is 2 cups of basmati rice. This is being rinsed and soaked. So the reason why we rinse it, to take away some starch from the rice, and we soak it to rehydrate it, so that we get a nice fluffy texture to the rice. So that's why we soak the rice as well.
I think that must be what I'm doing wrong at home. My rice is never fluffy, so.
Yeah. So if you have too much starch, it will be mushy.
Okay.
So you won't get it good. It's all about texture as well. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Too. So it doesn't take that long, and I'm going to add some salt before adding the rice. So it's 2 cups of rice, so a teaspoon and a half of salt.
And how much rice do you use per person in general?
I would say half a cup is enough.
Half a
for
cup?
one person.
Okay. Yeah. I think I always misestimate that too, so I either end up with a huge, huge thing of rice or not enough.
Yeah. So just it's a little bit sticking to this pan, so I added some water.
Kind of
Exactly, to get all the seasoning. We don't want to stick to the pan.
Right, nice, yep.
So always it's a good idea to keep some water close by. And then, it doesn't take that long. Now I'm going to add the 2 cups of soaked, rinsed and soaked rice.
Yeah.
I'm going to toast it in the seasoning. Yeah, the color is so beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
With the white
and it just
rice.
smells so good too. I'm very hungry. So by soaking the rice, does it kind of already start the cooking process a little bit? Or?
No, like it
Okay.
we drain the water as well.
Oh, okay, and then
Just
it'll
to
cook here.
rehydrate the rice.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha, yeah.
And now that's been toasted, I'm going to add some water. So 1 cup of rice, 2 cups of water. So now we have to add, I'm adding hot water.
And is that just so it's already kind of like
Exactly.
hot for the cooking process?
Yeah,
or?
we don't want the cold water again and get a slow process.
Okay, yeah. And was it 2 cups of water for 2 cups of rice?
Yeah,
Okay.
4 cups
yeah.
of water.
4 cups, okay.
1:2. Always the ratio is 1:2.
Okay. It's a good rule of thumb.
Exactly. So I'm looking for a rolling boiling. Then once it's boils up, then we're going to put the lid on medium for 20 minutes. Okay? Just we are waiting for the boiling. So instead of rice, you can use quinoa as well. Same recipe, you can use quinoa. If you wanted to go on low carb, follow the same recipe and use quinoa.
Nice, yeah. A little extra protein there.
Exactly, plant-based. That's what we are all seeing. It's right. Since we use the hot water, It comes to the rolling boil right away.
Very quickly.
Yeah, exactly.
The time saver.
Exactly. That's what we wanted it because once we use cold water, it'll take time and it'll start again getting mushy.
This is much more efficient, I must say. And so do you want it like simmering when you cover it, or
Once
kind
it's,
of just
yeah, medium
on medium?
flame. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to put it
Yep.
on medium flame for 20 minutes
Yep.
so that,
Nice.
this stage.
This is so tricky. Hey, yeah, there you go. You got it.
So this stage I'm going to, can you guys see the rolling boiling point? Yeah, this is what we are looking for. I'm going to put the lid on and transfer it to another stove here. Okay, is there any other questions regarding the rice?
No, I think, yeah, you covered everything really well. So
Okay.
if you want to move on to the curry.
Next one?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Sure. So next one is the coconut chickpea curry.
Yep.
So I have 2 cans of 15-ounce chickpeas and a 400 ml can of coconut milk, and we are going to use some ground spices as well. Okay. So we have a medium scale pan here hot. Again, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of canola oil. And here we are going to use some cumin seeds. So in this dish, curry, we are going to use whole seeds as well as the powder ground spices as well. So what is the reason we use whole spices and ground spices? Whole spice gives a rich and flavor to the dish, and the ground spices creates a base to the curry.
Okay.
So
I never
that's-
knew that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why we
Cool.
use
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely going to need to go shopping for a few spices,
Spices,
after this.
yeah.
And so you're using chickpeas in your curry today. Something I recently learned was that chickpeas are actually, so Canada is a major producer of chickpeas.
Okay.
So they're grown right here in Canada, in Alberta and in Saskatchewan. And you mentioned this is a family recipe your mother often
Yeah,
made in
yeah,
India.
yeah.
Did she use the same kind of chickpeas that we'll be using today
No,
in her
we
recipe?
will be, usually
Okay.
traditionally we use a brown variety of
Oh,
chickpeas,
okay.
which
Yep.
is more in fiber.
Yep.
But here we try to cook with the locally
local-
what is
yes,
available.
yes.
So I try to use
Yep.
the same recipe with
Yep.
white chickpeas.
And
okay?
so that's the brown variety that would grow in India.
Yeah, in the
Okay,
south, yeah.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
more of a nutty flavor to it.
Yeah, oh,
It is
nice.
smaller in size as well.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but instead of coconut milk, we used to grind fresh coconut and use the paste.
That sounds so good.
It's a lot of work. Nobody's going
Yeah.
to cook any Indian
Yeah.
to do all this process.
Yeah.
So it's all about quick and easy cooking. Huh? So we are waiting for the oil to get hot. Once the oil gets hot, then we'll be adding the cumin seeds. Always when you are adding the cumin seeds, make sure it doesn't turn black, because then it'll spoil the dish. Once the aroma of the cumin seeds hits your nose, then you have to add right away the next ingredient. So you don't want to burn it.
It's funny, on my way here in the taxi, my driver told me the same thing. He told me a curry that his grandmother made and gave me the same advice to not burn the,
Burn
the
the seeds, yeah. Totally, that would spoil the dish.
Yeah.
So that's why we have all the ingredients just right here ready. I have 1 medium onion, 2 medium tomatoes, and some ginger and garlic. So we use a lot of ginger and garlic in all our curries because it's good for digestion. And of course, everybody likes
Yeah, it smells amazing.
garlic. Yeah. So I'm going to test the oil. Still, yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
I know the temperature for the beginners who wanted to learn Indian food. This is like a tester.
Yeah, good trick, so then you don't need to start over.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what it's starting to sizzle right away. And
So you try to, you mentioned you use local ingredients.
Yeah.
Is that something that you try to do with all of your
Oh,
recipes?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
During the growing season, actually, I go to the Arrell Farmers Market.
Okay.
And that's where I
Yeah.
do all my grocery.
Nice and fresh then,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. And even I go to a farm here too in
Oh, cool.
Arrell.
Yep.
So I added the onion and ginger and garlic paste. Yep.
There we go.
Yeah. So we are looking for the onion to cook translucent.
Wondering too, is there any ingredients that you wish you had, like traditional Indian ingredients that you wish you had here that you can't find in Canada, or is there everything you can
No,
find?
absolutely, we get everything.
Oh, that's so cool. I love that. That's great.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So the onion and ginger and garlic are cooked. Now I'm going to add the tomatoes. So in the winter, if you don't have ripe tomatoes at home, you can still use canned diced tomatoes
Okay.
as well.
Yep.
But still you can make this delicious meal,
Yep.
even though you don't have a fresh ingredient. So that's a little tip when we are cooking the tomatoes. I try to add the salt to the tomatoes so that it sweats and cooks faster.
Oh, okay.
So there's a teaspoon of
good
salt,
trick.
which is needed for the recipe.
Yep.
So I'm not going to add more salt.
You can smell the difference already with the tomatoes.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really nice.
Because it sweats and cooks much
Okay,
faster.
yeah. So we know too that, if we think of North American diets, traditionally very meat focused. Is that the same thing where you come from in India?
No, India is an agricultural country.
Okay.
So that's why our main diet
Yep.
is all plant-based.
Okay. Nice.
And they
Yep.
have a longer, due to the climatic and geographic condition,
Yep.
India has a longer growing season. That's why plant-based dishes are main part of our
Right.
diet.
So you would say then that it, like your culture would have an important impact on how you view plant-based foods?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
90% of our diet is from plant-based.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
you can create magic
Yeah.
with the spices.
Yeah, I can
and-
tell. It's so flavorful. Like, I wouldn't be, missing
Yeah.
anything. Yeah. Very nice.
So we are waiting for the tomatoes to cook nice and soft. While that's cooking, let me go and check the rice there. Yeah, it's coming up really well.
While we wait for this to cook,
Sure.
I'm wondering, some people, especially here in Canada, I think struggle with plant-based foods because they think, maybe it's bland or boring or, they might not know how to cook plant-based foods in a recipe. So what are your tips for making delicious plant-based meals?
The tip is in this magic box.
Yeah.
The spices.
The spices, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, don't get very intimidated with a lot of spices.
Yeah.
Just, turmeric powder, cumin, and if you wanted some heat, you can add chili powder.
Nice, yeah.
So, for example, the same chickpeas, I have roasted that chickpeas in a 350 degrees for 30 to 40 minutes in the oven by adding a salt, cumin, and chili powder. So you get this healthy snack, okay? And I made a stir fry with the same ingredients. There I added cumin powder, here I added cumin seeds and chili flakes, and I tempered it in oil, and then I made like a stir fry. So
They both look really good.
yeah, they taste really good too. Yeah.
So what would you say then, in your opinion, as a chef and as someone who grew up eating plant-based meals, what are the benefits to incorporating
The main
plant-based?
benefit is the health benefits. The
Yeah,
health,
yeah.
and it's very economical too.
That's true, the cost.
So in our
yeah.
culture, there is a saying, food is medicine, medicine is food.
I love that.
So, you
Yeah.
know, so if you eat well, you get
You'll
all
feel
the health.
good.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And not only is it good for our bodies, but also for the
the
environment at
too.
large.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Yep. So it's a triple win.
Yeah, exactly, and with the
Yeah.
skyrocketing price, you know, it's more cheaper to cook
Oh, definitely.
plant-based dishes. Okay, so that's the tomatoes are trying to come really pulpy, and you guys can see this. This is the base for any Indian dish. Always the oil, some sort of fat, whatever you like, you can be using even olive oil too. Then you add the whole spices, and then some onions, ginger and garlic, and tomatoes. And now I'm going to add the seasoning for the curry. So I'm going to add half a teaspoon of turmeric powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, and 2 tablespoons of coriander powder. Why do we use a lot of coriander? Coriander powder acts as a thickening agent to the curries.
Oh,
So that's why we add more coriander to our dish. Okay, and this is southern style curry, so we are not going to add any garam masala to it. Our spice is the cumin.
So what would you use the gram masala? in?
Garam masala, we can use it for more other dishes which comes from the north.
Oh, okay.
So-
Yep.
So adding a little bit of water there so that it doesn't get dry. So all these Indian spices are really pungent, so we have to make sure that it cooks really well to mellow it so that we get a nice subtle flavor to it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not like just salt and pepper. It is really strong spices, so we have to make sure it cooks really well.
So the longer you cook it, the more kind of mellow they
exactly.
would.
It mellows
Okay.
down.
Nice.
So this is like a curry paste. You have the onion, tomatoes, the spices, and ginger garlic paste as well.
So if you bought like the curry paste at the grocery store, that's basically this?
Kind of.
Oh, this is better.
Yeah, this is because we know what is in
And
here.
it's fresher.
And it's
Yeah.
fresher, and we are using local ingredients, and as well, there's no preservative.
Yeah, and it was pretty easy to do too. It wasn't too
Exactly.
complicated.
That's the
yeah.
key of my cooking school.
I like that philosophy.
Because I love cooking, but I don't like to live in the kitchen.
Yeah.
So I try to cook really fast, but yet delicious as well
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Okay. So this stage, I'm going to add 2 cans of 15-ounce chickpeas, which has been rinsed, and to take away the extra salt from that. I want to check the rice. Yeah, it's
Got you running all over the kitchen.
Yeah, I have to keep an eye on the rice too. So, yeah. So we make sure we mix this so that all the spices are blended well with the chickpeas. And this stage, we need some sort of liquid. So this is where we are going to use a 1 can of coconut milk. It's 400 ml. And the southern food, coconut is the source of fat we get from the, because it's a tropical weather in southern India. So we try to incorporate more coconut milk in our diet.
Yum.
So give a good stir.
And in case people are wondering too, coconut milk, you can also get that at your local grocery store as well?
Yeah, it's widely now. You know,
Nice, yeah.
always it's the shelves are empty. I think coconut milk is really popular. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely smells great.
yeah.
It's amazing just with those few spices, like how
Exactly,
beautiful
how
it
you
looks
can-
and how
yeah.
much, yeah. Really
So
nice.
I have, after once it's cooked for 20 minutes, we are going to add some coriander. Some people don't like coriander leaves or cilantro because it doesn't suit their taste bud. You can always avoid it. So in my recipe, I would say optional. If you don't like it, you don't have to. So I put the flame on high, and I'm going to look for this rolling boiling point. Once it's come to the rolling boil, then I will put the flame on medium and cook for another 15 minutes. Yeah, that's perfect. So I'm going to put the lid on, and that's going to cook for another 15 minutes or so. While that's cooking, let's check on our rice. Wow. Yep,
It's looking really good.
it didn't take that long. See, this is what I'm looking for, the texture. Can you see that? It's so all separated and it's not
so
broken.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
It's like
is-
very like fluffy.
Exactly. This is what we are looking for. It's all about texture as well, too. So the rice dish, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, it's nice. It's super
Once the
quick.
prep work is done, then it will take only
Yeah.
15 or 20 minutes to
Yeah.
make a dish.
That's great. So you can make it on a weeknight when you're busy.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And so this boils for 15 to 20 minutes, you said?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Once it's boiled, then we are going to add some
Yeah.
cilantro and coriander.
And if
it's
people
done.
didn't like the cilantro, is there another kind of like
A
spicy?
herb,
Yeah, a herb you could put on top?
coriander and mint are very,
Ooh, mint would be nice. Yeah.
but it won't go with this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I would say just leave it.
Just, yeah.
Because we have coriander powder as well too.
Right. Yeah.
So
And coriander and cilantro.
both
they're
are
the
same.
Yeah,
Both are same.
I
We
recently
don't
learned that.
we don't use the term as cilantro in
Oh,
India.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just use as coriander.
Okay.
For
That's
seed
good to
version,
know.
the seed version, and
Yeah.
the herb too.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Nice.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
what it is.
So while we wait for that food to cook,
Sure.
I thought I'd share a little bit more about my research and my involvement with the Guelph Family Health Study. So one of the really cool projects that I had the opportunity to work on is a cookbook called Plant-Based Proteins, Recipes Made Easy Peasy, which is right here.
Awesome. That looks really
Yeah.
good.
So this was a collaboration between Health Canada, the Canadian Nutrition Society, George Brown College, and the Guelph Family Health Study. And the reason that we wanted to make this cookbook is because at the Guelph Family Health Study, our research showed that people were interested in plant-based foods, but they weren't really sure how to cook them in recipes, right?
For sure. Yeah. Even the same chickpeas, they don't have idea.
How do you
what-
make them taste
Exactly.
good?
Yeah.
So that's why we made this recipe, or this book. So the goal was to introduce families to really healthy yet delicious recipes with plant-based foods. So all of the recipes have at least one plant-based protein, but not all of them are solely plant-based. So we did that purposely because we really wanted there to be something for everyone. So whether you eat meat or not, you don't have to be a vegan or a vegetarian to enjoy plant-based foods
Exactly.
and get the benefits.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. See, like in our culture, we eat a little bit of meat.
Yeah.
And we eat
like a
more.
balance
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
yeah.
That's a balance
Yeah.
too.
And just
so.
looking, I think at your own diet and your life and like what works for you kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So
So the same chickpea, what are the other ways you can incorporate in your meal with a salad? Yeah, instead of like a plant-based protein, you can add it
Yep.
to your salads as
even the
well,
ones
too.
that you baked there would be nice on like a little salad for a
Oh,
crunch
yeah.
or something.
You're right,
Yeah.
exactly. I didn't think about it. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the roasted one can be for a crunch,
Yeah,
and
yep.
this one be for a softer version
Yeah.
as well too. And the hummus, which is very popular, it's made
yeah.
from chickpeas too.
Yeah.
And in southern part of India, we make a fritter with chickpeas.
That would be good too,
Oh,
yeah.
just like falafel,
Oh, okay, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it's similar
Yeah.
to that, but
Yeah.
they add parsley to it. We add coriander
Okay.
to it.
So
that's-
coriander is a big spice where you
Yeah,
can like used in a
absolutely.
lot of
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as a chef and a cooking instructor too, I'm wondering, I'm curious to hear your thoughts about why you think it's important for people to like learn recipes and cook at home.
I think cooking is a life skill.
Yeah.
At least everybody should know how to make 2 or 3 meals so that they can provide their family an economical and a satisfying meal.
We all have to eat, I guess.
Exactly. So, for example, today the meal what we prepared, a pot of rice and a curry, it would come under $10 or so. That's it.
That's really good.
It's very economical and, and it's good for the environment and for yourself too.
Totally. Yeah.
So let's check on the curry.
Doing well there.
Yeah, it's absolutely looking good. And it's all lunchtime for us too.
Yeah, definitely making me hungry.
Yeah. So while using the spices, see, turmeric powder is very healthy. But I would try to use it right amount of it. Right amount means, okay, it's very healthy, it's high in antioxidants and stuff. If you add 1 tablespoon of turmeric powder, it'll be too pungent.
Oh, really? It's that
very
strong.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you don't want to spoil the dish. It's exactly the right measurement.
So
how
it was
much
half?
to... I just used half a teaspoon of it.
And if in doubt, use less, I guess.
You could go up to 1, maybe not 1 tablespoon. So that's one tip I would recommend, because, it's so healthy, let's add more.
Again, with the balance, I guess, like everything.
Exactly. So if, the dish is not flavorful, the next time you won't use the spice.
That's true, then you wouldn't
So, that's where, traditionally we don't use measuring spoons in our kitchens. So they have this sort of spoon in the masala dabba. But, in the cooking class, I cannot do that because it's all new people who come. They are all beginners to learn Indian cooking. So that's why I give precise measurement, how much spice to each in used dish. So
would that be just like a little half teaspoon there? Or
no, I measured it. It's almost 1 teaspoon.
Oh, okay.
It's 1 teaspoon. So.
Great. I think we might have some questions from the audience soon.
Sure.
Yeah. Might have gotten, let's see, a message here. So I have a little list. So I'll just bring those up. Okay, so the first question from our audience is how much water do you need to soak the rice and for how long?
Oh, enough water, like just it's submerged and for 10 minutes.
So submerged and for 10 minutes?
10 minutes. I wouldn't go more than that. I would even time it.
Okay.
10 minutes.
And is that in cold
cold water?
Okay.
It's room temperature water.
Nice. Okay, that's great. And our next question is, let's see, when using dry chickpeas, some recommend soaking and boiling first in an alkaline solution by adding baking soda. I've never heard that. That's really interesting. Do you use dry chickpeas? And if so, does increasing the pH make a difference?
I don't use, right now it's a staple to use canned chickpea, but back home we never get canned beans and lentils. So we use dry, but we would soak it, but not in baking soda. The baking soda, it makes to cook faster. That's the reason why they add baking soda in all the beans and lentils. But here we have this wonderful tool, Instant Pot. So it cooks really faster. And now I think President Choice carry in a freezer section the cooked chickpeas.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, it's been there for a while. The blue menu. So you don't even have to go for a canned one. And I think if you again want to go for canned, they have organic too. So you can
I usually use canned myself.
You can go for those options. Or else if you have an instant pot, you cook them a big batch, and I would Ziploc it and put it in the freezer.
Oh, that's a good,
So it's more economical.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Our next question is, can you tell us a bit more about how you got into cooking classes, what challenges you had setting up the cooking classes, and what you enjoy the most about it?
I think not much of a challenge because I like to be with people. Coming from India, it's a very
Nice
thickly
community.
populated country.
Yeah.
So that was the social part was a big thing I was missing. So naturally cooking comes for me, and I was a teacher back home too. So I was a primary school teacher. So I combined these both
I didn't
too.
know that, yeah.
And when I used to work with our one organization in Guelph, I used to take our curries for potluck and stuff.
Okay.
So my coworker, she encouraged me, why don't you start teaching,
Yeah,
because
makes sense. Yeah.
people would love to know how you cook them. So that's how I started.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And the word of mouth, and we say Guelph is like a fishbowl. Everybody knows everybody.
So true. I kind of love that about Guelph, though. Coming from Newfoundland, it's the same thing. Like,
That's how it is. So, I don't do it every single day, the classes, in a month, 2 or 3 times. And it's been going good. I missed that part during COVID, doing in-person classes. So I started online class. So now I have online class and I have in-person class too.
That's awesome, yeah.
So in my in-person classes, I do it at the 10 Garden Street in Guelph downtown. And online, if you wanted a customized class, please let me know.
Oh, cool. That would be fun too, yeah.
You can have your own menu, and I would send all the ingredients and prep list, and you can have it ready, and you can cook along with me.
Oh, so fun. I want to do that now.
Yeah, sure.
Let's see. The next question is, can you speak more to the nutrition and value of plant-based meals? So when meat is absent, how can we ensure we're getting enough protein?
Yeah, that as a dietitian, I think, would you be able to answer that, Kat?
For sure.
Because my background is economics. So, for
sure. So I would say in Canada, most of us do get enough protein. So I wouldn't be super worried about that part. And plant-based proteins, so things like chickpeas and nuts and seeds and tofu, they tend to have more fiber and more of the healthy fats, so less of the kind of unhealthy or saturated fat that we often see in greater quantities in meats or animal-based foods. So those would be probably the main 2 benefits. So the fats, unsaturated, will be better for our heart health, and the fiber, of course, keeps our digestion.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's what I would say, all the plant-based. Once your food gets digested, you're very healthy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sure. This is getting excited.
I know.
Questions.
They're great questions. So this is the last question. You mentioned that cooking is a life skill. What 2 or 3 dishes do you think people definitely should learn how to make if they are starting to learn about Indian cooking? That's a great question.
Yeah, so this is the base for any Indian cooking. First, whatever fat, source of fat you like it, you can add it. And then start with the cumin seeds. Then ginger and garlic and onion and tomato. That's the base for any curries. And if you, for meat lovers, if you don't want to eat meat, I would recommend even mushrooms.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that would be good.
Same recipe, even you can avoid the coconut milk if you're not a big fan of coconut. The same recipe, follow everything, and add mushrooms to it. Even portobello mushrooms, cremini, oyster. They blend very well with all the Indian spices.
So you could switch up, like, instead of the chickpeas, you could use the mushrooms, or like chicken, I guess, even, or tofu maybe?
Yeah, sure. Tofu works well too. Even here, instead of coriander leaves, you can add a handful of baby spinach.
Okay, that would be nice.
So in the end, you can wilt it, so you get your iron as well too.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great benefit.
Nice. That's what it is.
Those were great questions from the audience.
But definitely.
This is smelling so good.
Thank you. And it's...
we might have one more question too.
Yeah, sure.
One more. Any advice for which spices and flavors to use when cooking for kids who don't like it too spicy?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So we, in our culture, we start feeding kids from, once they start solid. Is it 6 months? I forgot. It's been a while. So I used to cook rice, split yellow lentil with some cumin,
Yep.
Just start with cumin.
Just cumin.
Cumin
Okay.
and
Yep.
salt and a little bit of turmeric for health benefits,
Yeah.
just to give the color.
Oh, right, yeah.
So, and don't add any the heat
Right, the
spices
chili,
like the
yep.
chili powder or, the black pepper powder. So that's what it is. So I would say cumin. Cumin is so versatile and it's so milder, and everybody can have it. So that's why
Yeah,
I
that's a
would say
great
cumin,
question.
turmeric, and
Yep.
salt.
Cumin
And salt.
Yeah. Okay.
But make sure, even if cumin, if you add a little bit, it won't spoil the dish. Turmeric, you have to be very careful.
Right.
Because it's
right.
pungent.
Yeah.
It's too pungent.
And it stains too. Hey, I noticed I was working with it in my kitchen and I was wearing a white shirt.
Oh.
That was it. Yeah.
So I think it's
Wow.
getting there.
That looks so good.
Almost. Looks like we're doing good with the time as well. So one big bowl.
So would this be the stage if you wanted to add the spinach, you could add it
Yeah,
around now?
yeah.
Okay.
And if you see, this is the southern part of India, this curry. So since it's a climate is tropical,
Yep.
our curries are more watery.
Okay. Yep.
So if you don't want it to be more liquidy,
Yep.
You can evaporate it by not putting the lid.
Okay. So just, take out the lid
Just
and boil.
let it
Yeah.
evaporate so that you can cut. Or if you wanted more creamy texture, I would say take a handful of chickpeas and puree it and add to it.
Oh, that's such a cool idea. Yeah, I
So
never
it
thought
blends,
of that.
you get that creamy texture.
Yeah, that's really nice. Yeah.
So I would recommend that. I think we are almost done. At this stage,
Looks so
I switched
good.
off the flame and I'm going to add
Wow.
a handful of cilantro or coriander, whatever you guys can call. So the yellow and
Looks
green.
so pretty.
Exactly.
Yeah, very nice.
It's so beautiful.
My parents are going to be visiting from Newfoundland soon, and they've just started getting into curries, so I think I
So
might try
definitely-
this recipe for them when they get here.
Sure. So I'm going to plate this. I think you can see that in the camera as well, how the rice turned out. So this is the rice dish.
Beautiful.
We made it, and I want to show the texture. This is the texture we are looking for, nice and fluffy. So I'm going to dish some rice here. And I think I forgot to take some spoon. Let's dish some chickpea curry.
Slowly but surely. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Oh, I think we've got a delivery.
I think we are done.
Yeah, oh, perfect.
It's beautiful.
That looks gorgeous.
So peas pulao and coconut chickpea curry. This is what we made today.
Wow.
Is there more questions from the audience? This is
I
so
think that's about
exciting.
it. Yeah, it looks great, and yeah, we're all good. So in that case, I wanted to thank you so much, Chitra, for sharing your thoughts and for cooking this lovely meal for us today. If you're someone who's in the audience who tuned in today, you can recreate these meals at home, and the full recipes are available online at www.arrellfoodinstitute.ca. And if people wanted to learn to make more dishes from you, Chitra, where can they get more information?
And thank you so much for having me again here. You can log on to my website, www.krishaindiancookingschool.com. There's a lot of information about other spices, and you can have a custom-made menu too. If you wanted to learn some new dishes, please email me or even text me. I'm more than happy to arrange that for me. So I have a class next week, April 28th at 10 Carden Street in Guelph downtown. Still, there's a few more spots left. If you're interested, please log on to my website and you can register. Okay?
That sounds great. Thank you so much. So as we wrap up today, I wanted to let you know that today's event was part of our Deep Dish Dialogue series, which is a monthly series that showcase chefs and food experts while diving into impactful subjects. So stay tuned for our next event, which will be in May. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.